Good afternoon, everyone. Cempakans, Cempaka parents, staff, teachers, Malaysians. The voice you're hearing now is Inci Isham, your Director of School Development. I've not seen many of you for a very long time, and I hope everyone is doing well at home. Joining me today in the second episode of our Cempaka at Home webinar series is Khalilul Rahman, class of 2009 from CDH, Rumah Seladang. Carl, you want to say hello to everyone who is obviously at home right now?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well during this RMO. Yeah.
So Carl is going to join us today to discuss his insights. As well, you wear a lot of hats, don't you, Carl? As a social activist, youth activist, I should say.
Yeah, that's one of them.
One of them now.
Yeah.
Uh, a great advocate for recreational sports and ardent Gooner. Am I right?
Yes, advit.
Okay, maybe you want to tell us a bit about yourself and your experiences so far.
All right. So yes, I graduated from Cempaka in 2009. Ever since leaving high school, I was in Help University just for a while, doing foundation and American degree transfer program, figuring out what I wanted to do. At the same time, I was working in theatre, KLPAC, Performing Life Arts Centre, the actor studios, just doing some backstage, mostly backstage work. Then after that, I became a community engagement officer for an elected representative, as well as I became a librarian for 2 years, actually, for a private library in Mangsa. Then I became an advocate, not advocate lah. I became one of the assistant secretary for Kebun Kebun Mangsa, the founding one. And over for the last 6 years, actually, I've been doing a lot of sports activism, especially in football. So I started this Twitter account called Panamloy Sepak. We just live tweet Malaysian football in English, and ever since then, it evolved into something big. We transitioned into a website, and right now we have a NGO. So we have been doing a lot of groundwork on the field, from helping league organizers in Klang Valley, Selangor, especially. Currently, Panabulon Sepak, one of the biggest things that we have done is actually the Selangor Champions League. So His Royal Highness Raja Muda Selangor, Tengku Amir Shah, actually in 2016 founded Football Selangor. So Football Selangor is an initiative to unify grassroots football across Selangor. And Tuanku created a championship to unify and celebrate football, which is Selangor Champions League. And it's been going on. So this year is the 5th year. So yeah, with the RMO right now, we're currently figuring out how can we progress the competition. It's a year-end competition anyway. And what we do on Panabula Sepak to Selangor Champions League is that we support and we help organize it as well. And at the same time, for the past 3 years, going into 4th year, we actually created a community. Actually, we start organizing futsal programs and football programs, because one thing about having a lot of followers on Twitter, because on Twitter I have about 26,000 followers actually. So we do have everyday people who love football, who love to talk about football, but they do not have the opportunity to play football because how intense it is, how rough it is, and so on and so forth. So they want a safe space to play football. So we encourage everyone, men, women, people who are overweight, do not have skills, just starting to kaki mangku. Even we have families playing with us. So we created this thing called recreational football. So we got inspired by our community partner, our best friends, Bobai. They started this thing called no tackle rule. So we actually invoke the no tackle rule policy into our programs. And under 3 years, actually, we have organized over 100 programs. 100 just before the RMO kicked in. 118 programs, and we have served over 3,000 people actually. Hold on, just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, family.
No worries. No worries.
All right. Okay. So we have heard over 3,000 participants. Actually, we have 3,000 people who have participated in our programs, and so many people just wanted to play for fun. We have men, women, and again, like I said earlier, we have a lot of people who just wants to play the game. Our oldest participant is actually 62. Our
62.
youngest, yes, playing with us, and he runs as fast as a lot of people. And we actually have a Paralympic athlete who won the gold medal actually during the 2017 Paralympic Games in Malaysia, playing with us.
Yes, I
Uh,
remember we discussed about this earlier where you had sort of fathers and sons, mothers and
yes,
daughters,
yes,
brothers and
yeah,
sisters, of
yes.
siblings,
Mm-mm.
more than just a group of friends, right?
Husband and
As
wife,
it's
yeah.
more husband and wives. It's
Mm.
like a bonding session, a family bonding session, so to speak.
Not only it's very communal, very societal, communal, and that's why we call it recreational football. So basically, we want to build a tier underneath social football for everyone to be more accessible. And recently, actually, for the past 1 year, we've been engaging with the head of grassroots from FAM, Football Association of Malaysia. We just talk about what can we do to help them with from our end to help football, because we always believe that I always believe that we're looking at the models in UK, Germany, US, and Australia, and so on and so forth. The only reason, one of the few key pillars of why these football association can grow is because they have a very good grassroots foundation. So that's why I figured that me and my team, Izham and our team, we figured that we need to create something, a new layer underneath social football, because our Malaysian football pyramid has never been completed. We're still in that semi-amateur pro punya fasa. So we're very top heavy focus in our football ecosystem. So that's why we want to focus everything grassroots. It's not the most popular thing to do in Malaysian football, because I've come from social media world where we talk about the top tier, top tier, top tier. That's very popular, but no one really wants to talk about the grassroots work. Which eventually kind of like dissipates the engagement with my followers. But at the same time, for me, it's not really about chasing the popularity. It's about chasing to do the credible work. So that's one thing very important when you want to do something from the heart, from the soul, is that do the credible work. It's not about being popular. It's not saying the right things apa semua tu on just to make yourself look good, egotistical or whatever. It's about doing the right things that matters and that can help for future generations lah.
That's awesome, Carl. So, from what you've been telling us, it sounds like community is a big part of the work that you've been doing.
Yeah.
How do you see us as a community right now?
Okay, the RMO. Okay, so just to give an organizer's point of view of organizing all this recreational and also all this work that we're doing. So we've been keeping tabs on the progress of COVID-19 ever since the first case arose in Malaysia back in late January, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, around that. So we've been tracking it. So we want to ensure the safety of our participants and also ensure the safety and health of our participants. So we were tracking it on a 2-day basis. We were tracking it. We want to know whether it's still safe for our participants to play or not, because we do not. One thing, these are everyday people. They're not professionals. Not all of them have healthcare, and so on and so forth. So we want to be very responsible for our participants. So how it has affected us, definitely as organizers, has hurt us quite badly, but more thinking we do what's right for our participants. Definitely when we cancel our program just to ensure the safety. Everyone was really down. Majority understood the reason why we did it. But of course, there was a few people that we need to talk to, and because like they really wanted to play because it's it's escapism for them after a long day of work and so on and so forth. So everyone was down, collectively down, but we understood where we are. There was a good level of education and communication from us, the organizers, to the participants, and also it depends on where you are from the sports scene, because recently I also did an interview with a few other groups. We were talking about how this all affected us. Like for example, from a coach's point of view, grassroots coach, they need to give a package to all the people who are in their programs. Like, okay, do this training and so on and so forth, too. So that's from the coach's perspective. And also one thing down from the coaches is that they cannot track their students' progress. I'm pretty sure you guys as teachers as well feel really macam disheartened that you cannot see the progress physically, see the maturity growing, the development growing. That's from the coach's point of view. But from as a professional, spoke to a professional footballer the other day, same interview as well. He said that, of course, the club thought that they could do like a 5% training to reduce and minimize the virus lah, apa semua tu, but they all ultimately decided not to do it. And they were given package of like macam what training to do at home, and actually they have to record their weight to the club to see that their weight maintains, as well as they have to send videos of themselves training at home.
Yeah, because they're not off season, right?
Yes, yeah, this
Still
is
in the middle of the season.
Yeah, no, it's still in the beginning of the season. We're not even halfway. We're not even halfway through the season.
Like 3 games, and then yeah.
Yeah, 3 games actually, 4 games actually. Then the season is on it's on stagnant mode. And of course, league organizers as well. This is like, imagine league organizers who view this as a bread and butter. How much of an impact for them financially to do this, as well as teams and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's and that's how in the football grassroots system ecosystem is currently facing right now. And of course, after we finish all the rasa macam panic apa semua tu, after the anxiety dissipates, we collectively came together. Me, my partner Malaysia team, and the Rekreasi NGO came together, and we asked ourselves, what can we actually do during this RMO, because of course we want to volunteer, we want to help out apa semua tu. Of course, we kind of like I myself as a student as well, I kind of like, why didn't I study harder? I could have been a doctor or whatever, semua tu, this and that, to help out the front lines right now, right? But after a period of self-reflection, and also thinking about it, and also reading certain books, left, right, center. One of them is Viktor Frankl's one. I forgot I just recently read it 3 days ago. For the life of me, I forgot the name of it. But anyway, you are where you are meant to be. I mean, philosophically speaking, and spiritually, because I think everyone has a role to play. So if like you are a graphic designer, a graphic student designing, all these amazing posters for school, apa semua tu, and you feel really helpless, that you feel really helpless, offer that service to the world. People out there need help to propagate their message. Like just this afternoon, I was talking to kitajaga.us. They are looking for help to disseminate the call to action. They need food supplies, they need donations. So macam like in that case, so if you're like a graphic student, offer your service to all these organizations to create a wonderfully nice poster to get the word out. So if you are a if you are a college student, you can offer virtual tuition, extra help. Teachers in government school, they can't really, they're handling about 30 to 40 students a class. That's just one class. Just one class. But in a subject, how many students you are facing, and you cannot like monitor all of them. So I ask all these professionals and ask whether ask them macam, where can I help? You have a self reflection on yourself and ask yourself, where can I help during this crisis? But you also have to be realistic as well with your capabilities. Like for me, I'm a activist in terms of like organizing all this work. So where does my role play? So my role, where I see it, is post COVID-19 era. So that's where I will come in as that's why me and my team will come in a post COVID-19 era, where where we organize all these sporting programs and whatever, just to make people feel alive again lah. So macam you have to strategize yourself and look at yourself macam, okay, what's your capabilities, what do you actually can do to help society, whether it's now or post COVID-19, because I do feel that we are going to a new
A new reality.
because
a new reality. Let's talk a bit about that, the post COVID-19 era. I mean, as bleak as it can be sometimes for us, and of course in many other parts of the world it's much worse, but we have to keep strong together and know there's light at the end of the tunnel. So once we get, what do you think that reality is like, will be like for Malaysians?
Honestly,
just to give you a bit of a context, I mean, right now we are of course being told to have social distancing with each other, and the very rare times that I've stepped out to get groceries for my family, no one really looks at each other in the eye. Not that we did before, but there is sort of a vibe of, okay, I'm going out there, I'm going to spend as less time outside as possible, interact with the least number of people as possible, and just get home to my family.
I think
how quickly can we get back to normal, and is that possible?
I think how quickly can we go back to normal is that okay, it's actually two things. Number one is, do you want to go back to the same world that led us to this problem?
That's a fair point.
Do we want to go back to the status quo? So it's up to us whether what kind of world that do we actually want to want to build. So I hope that we can actually shift to a better world from this. But in order to do that, we have to see what's going on now. On social media, unfortunately, is that everyone's like fear mongering. There's a lot of fear being messages of fear being circulated around. So that's just a vocal minority, that's just a vocal few who are just spamming a lot of like notes of fear. But what we should do is actually highlight the notes of encouragement. Like for example, the stories of the grab food riders, food panda guys, all these people who are doing volunteering work. We should highlight them more. We should highlight all these workers who are putting their lives out. And also macam from there, take the good values of what they have done, value them even more, and like decide how can we improve everyone's lives. Just recently read an article saying that this global lockdown has actually given a greater appreciation to all these delivery people, all these people who are working in the convenience store, people who are working in the groceries. So we should,
people who pick up our rubbish.
Yes, so even our law enforcement as well, they're working 24/7 just to protect us, making sure that we follow the current conditions right now. So macam this post COVID-19 era, this post RMO era, how do we not forget all this gratitude, all this positive work that people has given their lives to us, so how can we make the world even more progressive in that sense? I really hope that we do shift into a brave new world. That's just my hope. I do not want 6 months down the line, 1 year from now, we go back to where we were, where we are. It shows that we didn't even progress from a crisis. Again, reading as a former librarian, reading a lot of books. If you a crisis really defines, tells you a lot about yourself. So in that sense, if it tells us that we are a loving people, we are a compassionate bunch, we truly understand the nature that we need to change, for the better. I think that gives a lot of hope going forward. Yeah,
It brings out the best in us as a
we have
community and
to.
also the worst in us. And it's our
Mm,
decision as our choice as a society which we want to embody as we move forward.
yes. Mm-mm.
Okay, so what would your advice be for Champakans, young Champakans, on maybe two things? What can they do now
Mm-hmm.
during this RMO period, and
Mm.
what maybe you want to see them do in the future after in the post-COVID era? What
Okay.
can Champakans do?
Jamaicans, everywhere, everyone. Again, like I said, do a self reflection. Is rich coming from me because I'm a workaholic. So balance, be mindful of your timing. Number one, in terms of your work, your school work and your volunteer work, and also for yourself. You do need time for yourself. That's usually J. Isham knows that's really rich coming from me. uh, yeah. Uh, when you have that self-reflection, you will ask yourself, what can I do for people? Like, for example, like myself, because again, football background and so forth, I did this challenge on social media called Karangan Bola Sepak. So I know that people out there are creative bunch who wants to write, express themselves during this RMO period. So we had a lot of people from everywhere to submit their essays. So we published them on our website to get it shared, because like when you give some people a task, a challenge, it motivates them to do something. So it might, again, like I said, it may not be the most popular work, but it is credible in sense that you are helping that. If you're helping one person, that's enough. So my advice to you, Japankans, for now, for the mindful now, is that look in yourself and ask yourself, what actually can you offer to the world. So macam, again, like I said earlier, if you're a good graphic designer, you help, you throw yourself out there. Just ask, who needs a graphic designer to post posters. If you are a musician, why don't you do a class? Why don't you do a cover class of like all the favorite songs that you guys have done, musicals or whatever, semua to, the world's digital, so we can actually use the full potential of it. If you are a video editor, same thing. Help people who are on the field documenting all these strange times to piece something together. Offer your services out there. Even if you are a writer, write, chronicle what's going on and how do you feel about it. Because at the same time, I think mental health is also I'm also a big advocate on mental health as well. We have a relationship with Befrienders KL. um, you know even if you are the listener of your social group, be the listener. But at the same time, people who listen to the listener, please ask the listener how he or she is, importantly. So there's so many ways for you to help, like just now, the mental health punya side. If you are the person that the family needs someone to talk, your family needs someone to talk to, talk to them, open up. So there's so many ways for you to contribute. It's just that you need to macam apa you just need to self reflection. And for the future, think about, what do you want this world to be? Do you want a world that is the same thing as before, or do you want to go to a brave new world that I and myself, my team, and my community, and the community that we're building, want to head towards?
That is the absolute core, I think, of the message that we're trying to bring across to Chapakans. Chapakans, we know, are talented in so many different ways, and it's a challenge of imagination to find out how we can be useful to our community, to each other, our families during this period. We've got a question for you, Carl, just to pivot a little bit and also keep it lighthearted. a question for you from our live chat on YouTube. Yo asks, which
Okay.
EPL team do you support? Of course, we covered that at the very beginning, but I think maybe you was just joining us right now. Wanting to know which EPL team do you support, and maybe you can add on also if you support any MFL team as well.
Oh, MSL, Malaysia Super League. Okay. So in EPL, I'm a big supporter of Arsenal. I'm a big advocate of the man himself, Arsene Wenger, because I do believe that growing up, you do need certain figures to not say idolize, but to who shares the same values with you. So in that sense, Arsene Wenger is a very selfless human being that I enjoy looking up to. So it's a reflection of my soul in a sense. So macam that's why I support Arsenal, and he one thing the values about Arsenal and also what Mikel Arteta is doing right now at Arsenal is that it's about empowering people. It's never been about forcing people to do A, B, C, D, E. It's always been encouraging people. What do you do? What can you do in these circumstances? Malaysian football. I'm not a fan of any particular club actually. I
Not
can't. I
Selangor.
can't be. Yeah, I can't be. No, I can't be
Maybe just a
because
little bit
like
of Selangor lah.
a little bit of Selangor lah because I technically work with them.
Yes.
But in terms of macam, but I do have good teams. I do support teams who are on the lower divisions on the grassroots side. Any of you who are under Coach Dizzy, I'm actually a big supporter of his team, Southern. Uh, and also Clasico, and also a few other teams in the Klang Valley near region. Um, yeah. Any other questions? Since we have what 6 minutes left.
Well, a question from a question from Rafael Hamza asks, what are your thoughts on the current status of the EPL League? Should it be cancelled and declared null and void?
Or
I don't know, what do you have an alternative that they could do?
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts covering this, especially from the Athletic. They have revealed, they have shared actually that clubs they're the ones that decide whether they want to continue the season or not. So that's why recently there was an announcement from the England FA, the third tier until the 17th is all cancelled. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But for the EPL, the Championship, and the League One in England, they want to continue on because there's a lot of things at stake, especially TV rights deals. So I believe that the league will continue, but when, I'm not sure. But at the same time, it gives a nice problem to solve as well, because like you can actually work yourself towards the World Cup 2022 Qatar. So you can actually reconfigure the season in a sense to fit the World Cup 2022. I mean, like it's a nice, it's a macam interesting two birds of one stone punya angle lah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, coming back to the topic at hand about the MRO, what were your thoughts when you heard about the extension?
I expected it.
What advice would you give somebody who's terribly disappointed, maybe even depressed by the extension?
Okay, we have less than 5 minutes, so I'll give it very quick. You are not alone. Know that you are not alone. There's always someone out there who is willing to help you. There's always people out there that needs help. So know that you are all not alone in this world. It's just that you have to ask, you have to reach out to people and talk about the problems that you are facing. Of course, we all started being down apa semua tu, but we have to regalvanize ourselves. It's okay to be in denial. I'm just telling everyone out there, there's read about the 5 stages of grief. You're in denial, you're in anger, you were bargaining, and then you get in depression, and it goes to acceptance. So the journey to acceptance will take time, but know that you're not alone. You're not in this journey alone. You can, we all can weather the storm together. So just be spiritually there for each other, talk to each other. Uh, Hello.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. We got the message there. We got to stay united as a community. Okay, we do have a few minutes left, so just allow me to recap everything that we've covered so far. Of course,
Yes.
your journey through community building and activism, understanding the importance, I think, of community building towards nation building, and
Mm.
of course, we covered your views on the RMO at the moment and how has it affected your community work, but yet you sort of adapted
Yeah,
and
we have to adapt. Yeah.
yeah, adapted to the new reality that we are in currently right now, and also looking forward to the new reality that we will enter at the end of this COVID-19 period that we are all in right now.
Mhm.
Um, with that, I shall leave you, Mr. Carl, with the last word that you would like to tell all Chapakans.
I'm gonna say something that I shouldn't, but I'm just gonna share with this to everyone. When I left high school, finished SPM, around that time period, I wasn't in the best frame of mind and emotionally, and that led me to get a very bad result in my SPM papers, which is actually I got three A's. But despite of that, you know, you go through a lot of dark times, but through that darkness, you do find people that wants to help you, that wants to reforge a lot of things about you. So you're not alone. You can find a silver lining and you go for it. So regardless of what problems that you've been going through, you can solve it.
Okay, we've got just over a minute left. We got a last minute question from Umar. I think this is something that is a pretty good question for us to answer right now. What is the best way to get into sports even if you're not physically strong?
Oh, just sign up for recreational football on our website. Yeah.
I think that's a
We'll
good
get
one,
back
and
to you.
Umar, I'm gonna tell you and many other more Chapakans about recreational football, as Carl has been talking about. We're gonna share a lot more about that, and you know what? That can be a new reality for a lot of Chapakans after this COVID-19 period is over. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Carl, for joining us in the second episode of the Chapaka at Home webinar series. There is going to be further episodes coming to you next week. Please stay tuned, Chapakans, and more than ever now, stay safe. Thank you, Chapakans.